Hello, and welcome to the Lionel 2024 Volume 1 review. This video will be a little more raw, just so I can give my thoughts. Now let's start with the catalog. As you can see, the front cover has the Polar Express, which is no surprise. It's the 20th anniversary, and they were going to come out with something eventually. The blue Polar Express certainly is shocking, but it does look alright. The Hiawatha, that's a really big one this year. I've looked at it. There are quite a few offerings, as we will see. We've already talked about the Vision line. Triplexer, a lot of people have, and as you can see, there's a few options, few fantasy names, and I know there's some dealers that are doing the fantasy road names. I think Pennsylvania, some other Erie, and Army, and if there's any more, just let me know. Besides the fantasy schemes that I've mentioned, there's also the Halloween, which is quite interesting for a Vision Line engine that they wanted to do a fantasy scheme like that. The wheel slip seems like the most interesting part of this. Everything else is pretty much standard Vision Line as we've seen. I'm a little worried that it might lead to track degradation with the wheel slip, but that remains to be seen. The superset is nice if you've got the space for it. A lot of very cool billboard reefers and some various cars. Looks like I got a Vision stock car as well. And a Hobo Box car, yeah. Let's go to the Legacy Steam. You've got the Berkshires, Berkshire, whatever you prefer to call it. Looks like you got Nickel Plate Road. The 777 looks very interesting, so that blue will be interesting to see what happens. Looks like you got some CNO, DTNI, Père Marquette. Looks like you got H72882s. I don't know much about this locomotive, but it looks pretty cool from what I can tell. You got some 460s. I know there's some custom runs in these, as well as the H7s. They're a nice little steamer for a nice price. They can fit most small curves. Nothing too surprising here. I do like this royal blue, and I very strongly considered it, but I have the Wabash cars, and I also have some Pennsylvania cars, and I also kind of like the MTH 440 over the 460. Next, we have the Hiawatha, which the Lionel Locomotive of the Year is one of the Hiawathas, and it looks pretty cool. You've also got the aluminum cars, which will be really cool. The Hiawatha should be a pretty fun set to run. I also thought about pre-ordering one, but I don't really have the space for it, and even though I spent a short stint in Milwaukee, it's not really one of those ones I have to have, even though it is really cool. Some more Milwaukee Road of a different era. I think this is the later era. Again, pretty cool. You got the Chicago Northwestern Fantasy Scheme with also aluminum cars, which is cool if you're from the Chicago area to see a train like this, but again, totally fantasy. Same with the Seaboard. It's cool, I'll give it that, but a complete fantasy scheme as far as I understand. 49er, or the hot dog scheme as everyone calls it. It's pretty cool, but again, fantasy. Let's go to the diesels. Got a few GP9s, which Minneapolis, St. Louis, Norfolk Western, Pennsylvania, Banger and Aristoc, however you say it. Got some more GP9s in Conrail, Union Pacific, another black Conrail, and then these Super Base units. They're pretty nice. I'm not really a diesel person, except for the one KC Terminal, but they are nice. They're a nice diesel that can navigate small curves. ES44s, again, nice road road hauling diesel in the more modern schemes, BNSF, Canadian Pacific, CSX, Norfolk Southern, and Union Pacific. Then you've got a couple heritage units, the Central Georgia, Lehigh Valley, Monongahela, Norfolk and Western, and Pennsylvania. Then you got the CSX, Baltimore and Ohio, Conrail, Chessie, Seaboard, and Chesapeake and Ohio. Now, heritage units, it's a split thing. Some people like them, some people don't. It's really up to you on that one. If you want to model modern railroads, I would go for them. But if it's not something that you want to go for, totally your choice. You have some SD45s, Santa Fe, Delaware and Hudson, Rio Grande, Reading, Frisco. I do like the Frisco, but I don't really model diesel, so it's one of those that I'll probably have to just not go with this time. And then Southern Pacific. You got some E6 units, B&O, General Motors. This one is cool with the see-through to see the engine compartment. You got a Southern, and then you have a Milwaukee Road, which would go well with that Hiawatha. I would imagine you'd probably want later cars with that, but yeah, it's up to you. The Rock Island, those are pretty nice. They're a little mismatched, but that's probably what the Rock Island did. I know they had some financial troubles later on in their time, but it would be more realistic. You got City of San Francisco. I believe that's Union Pacific, but someone might have to correct me there. I really do like these Al Capone coaches. They are a Chicago commuter style, but they were in service for a long time, from like the 20s to the 60s, basically, on the Rock Island. I don't live in Chicago, but I do quite like the Chicago area railroad history, so this is something quite interesting. So yeah, the Rock Island, really nice coaches. A little bit expensive, but I did pre-order them. They should be nice. You got more E6 in the Burlington. It looks like you got some passenger cars. Again, this catalog looks like a really home run for Chicago railroad fans. Looks like you got some SW8s, Detroit Edison, Erie Lackawanna, Reading and Northern, Texas and Pacific, Air Force, and Chicago Northwestern. Again, nice little switching locomotive, something that can take smaller curves. You got the U-28Cs in Conrail, L&N, Pennsylvania, Penn Central, Southern Pacific, Union Pacific, and Seaboard. I know there's a couple custom runs of this out there, as well as some of the other diesels. I know PGH Train Fanatic is doing a custom run. There are quite a few custom runs out there with this catalog. This nickel plate fast freight legacy set, nice set if you want to be a nickel plate modeler. Looks like you got a hot box reefer, which is pretty cool. Basically, it's when the bearings are overheated, it'll flicker and show some smoke, which is pretty cool. Looks like it's a 779. I think it's one of those that's still in existence, but again, I'm not a huge nickel plate fan, so I would need someone to verify that for me. You got the Atomic Energy Commission glow-in-the-dark scale legacy set. It's cool. I definitely am curious why they chose legacy over just a standard set, but it is still pretty cool. Everything's scale size and it glows, which, I mean, for what it's worth, I mean, it could be a cool set for like shows and like showing off and that sort of thing. Looks like you got the Illinois Central City of Miami, which is a really cool set. I had to do a double take when I saw it, but I really like this. I think it's the E6 that's on it. Yeah, it's really cool with the green and the yellow like that. It was a real train, and it is pretty cool that they modeled something that's a little less known. Looks like you got some New York Central vestibule, and Pennsylvania semi-vestibule. And then you have Looney Tunes scale stuff, which that's interesting. Looks like you got more hotbox reefers, like I talked about before. Some milk cars. I like the O'Leary dairies. If you're from Chicago, you kind of know about O'Leary's cow and the Great Chicago Fire. And looks like you got a Strasburg for all those people too. Got more billboard boxcars, which those are pretty cool. I've thought about getting some, but I haven't. I haven't bit the bullet there and done it. But looks like you got a nice CA1 caboose as well, and then another Freight Sounds boxcar. More Freight Sounds boxcars, like the Union Pacific, but some other road names. Looks like you got some tank cars. Corn syrup, that's interesting. The Beehive corn syrup. I like this Katy trailer on flat car. A little bit out of the era that I tend to model. This is late 50s, early 60s. Railway Express, Southern Pacific, and Texas Pacific. Looks like you got some PS2 covered hoppers and some various road names. The weathered ones are nice. You don't see a whole lot of weathered come out from a catalog all the time, but it is nice to see that they are taking note of what some modelers like. More CA1 cabooses. You can see all the road names there. N6B cabooses. Looks like these are some of these are Vision cabooses, which will have the nice sounds and the little air whistle on it. They're pretty cool. Steel side box cars and woodside reefers. Again, nothing groundbreaking here. Just some more freight cars, but different road names and such. 50-foot tank cars, more modern rolling stock. Pretty interesting if you like the modern stuff. And then some 2-bay AAR hoppers. Looks like you got C&O, Erie, Nickel Plate, and Milwaukee Road. Let's see. Let's go to traditional O. This isn't what I model as much, but it's still pretty cool. Got some more Berkshires. Nickel Plate, Pierre Marquette, Chesapeake and Ohio, Louisville, and Nashville. It looks like you got the Amtrak Genesis, Metro, I believe GE Genesis, isn't that right? And then, yeah, you got various names. These heritage are very interesting. And feel free to correct me if I get some of these things wrong. I'm just going through this. Looks like you've got some doodle bugs, which are pretty nice. I like the B&O looks pretty nice. It looks like got some more. Ooh, East Broad Top. I didn't see that when I went through. Nice little Pennsylvania Tourist Railroad, but they're narrow gauge, so I don't know how accurate that one is. This Rock Island is pretty cool, based off their rocket scheme. Frozen set, John Deere set. The barn's pretty cool. Looney Tunes, no surprise there. That seems interesting. Dynamite Factory. Got a Prairie Freight. They brought back the 262 Prairie and the Lionel lines, but it's really a Pennsylvania Keystone, that sort of thing. But it's pretty cool. Yeah, you got Santa Fe, Pennsylvania, Army. Then you got the 242s. Again, not surprising. But I do like this pacemaker scheme. You could only get that in scale usually, but it's pretty nice that you can get an O-gauge pacemaker. I got some FTs. Lionel Lines is pretty cool. Looks like you can get another Texas Special locomotive if you have the Texas Special set. An ET44, couple options. Again, more modern, but in O-gauge. I got some TMCC speeders. I know Eric's Trains is doing one, and I don't know if there's anybody else doing one, but these are pretty nice little addition to a layout if you've got a little bit of money, but nothing that you want to break the bank. Now these passenger cars, they're nice, but the price tag MSRP is a little high. I would recommend going through a dealer and trying to get a little better of a price if you can. I know it's towards the end of the pre-order period, but I wanted to at least drop that if you're looking for some of these cars. Again, I think these are MTH tooling, so you can find a lot of these used, but if you want new, again, I would recommend going through a dealer. Harry Potter stuff, I mean, it's cool, but again, British train with American style freight cars. Up to you. Justice League, that's interesting if you like superheroes, good for kids and such. Or Disney, which those are not bad. And then some Angela Trotta Thomas, which are pretty cool as well. Barbie boxcars. I mean, hey, the movie was a sensation, and it's just a toy trains, toy dolls. It works. Wizard of Oz 85th. I mean, being from Kansas, you get the Wizard of Oz all the time. So it's cool. But the Bob Ross is also pretty interesting. I like this water tower. I wouldn't buy it for myself, but I have asked some people for maybe a Christmas gift or something. It's pretty cool. Mr. Rogers, again, classic show, and just if you're from Pittsburgh or just like the show, it's a pretty cool representation to have. Got some crane cars, the beer stuff, not much to say there. Wings of Angels, it's good if you like pinup, but it's not exactly the most family friendly. You got some Army stuff, which is cool if you like Army trains. Looks like you got some Western Road freight, then some Eastern Road freight. The blue coal's interesting. I don't know if that thing was actually real, but someone can back me up here. And I've never seen blue colored coal, but I don't know. Looks like you got some graffiti rolling stock, which is cool to offer in O Gauge. You don't see that a whole lot. Got some East Broad top, which that's a pretty cool box car. I didn't see that the first or second time through, so I'll have to look at that and think about that one because that's a pretty cool looking box car. Looks like you got some California Zephyr, First Continental Congress. Looks like personalized. And then you got Halloween, which I will. So you got some Halloween. Looks like another 242. These are interesting. The wood passenger cars that are scale. I mean, yes, they've made a lot of Halloween scale stuff, but definitely an interesting era. I mean, the Victorian, kind of end of the turn of the century, that does go well with a lot of like Haunted House and Halloween. Dr. Acula's Blood Tonic, that's funny. And then the Eerie caboose, which would go well with the Vision Line locomotive. Looks like you got a 242, an O Gauge, another FT. The trolley's pretty cool. Then you got these streamlined cars, which they're nice, but again, kind of expensive. Freightliner auto rack, Ichabod crane car. That's pretty cool. The Halloween water tower. Got a cover bridge, Angela Trotta Thomas, and then another barn, which is pretty neat. Looks like we're going to Christmas. First thoughts, a maroon Polar Express for a 20th anniversary set. It's bold, I will say, but it isn't a bad look. Now, it's up to you if you want to spend the money on a maroon Polar Express, but it is tasteful. It's just, I was more expecting a black Polar Express on the set. Looks like you got a 20th anniversary coach and a boxcar, a couple boxcars actually. Again, it's a passenger train. Polar Express never pulled a freight in the movie, but if you want something like that on your layout, it's totally up to you. The Lionel store exclusive blue, as we talked about earlier, it's cool. It's supposed to like change colors and all that, and like be really reflective, which could be cool, but again, Lionel store exclusive. It's going to be probably at MSRP. Um, Someone might have to double check me on that one. I ordered this one, the Polar Express 1225. I mean, I have been waiting years for one to come out that isn't $5,000 on eBay. It looks like you got a special edition red. Again, kind of up to you. And then I got some of these cars as well. The new tooling on the Polar Express observation car will be nice. Looks like you can get black and snow. I ended up getting more snow ones for it. I hope they turn out okay. If you have the cars, just let me know what you think on those. Looks like you got a 20th anniversary O-Gauge set. Interesting that they changed the font on the tender like that and a gold coal load, which interesting. But let's see, some more O-Gauge stuff. That's pretty interesting. The Genesis, the Doodlebug, and then a TMCC speeder. Hand cars based off the Minnie and Mickey design, which those are pretty cool if you've got one of those. I haven't gotten one of those, but they do look pretty neat. Looks like some more freight cars. Do like Billy's house. That's pretty cool. Another water tower. Let's see. Some American Flyer stuff. There wasn't much American Flyer, but I think they come out. I thought that they usually come out with an American Flyer catalog, or maybe I'm wrong there. Looks like you got a Christmas Hiawatha, which it's cool. I mean, again, it's one of those things where I've struggled personally to want to get a set that only comes out at Christmas. Polar Express is a little different in my opinion, but it does look pretty cool. Again, the aluminum cars, I've heard people talk about how they're expensive, but it is pretty neat. I do like this Cocoa train. It would be nice if they offered some more North Pole Central wooden cars, but you get a couple milk cars. We'll see if the tooling is better, and a nice little 460. It looks like you got a wood caboose that you could go with the Cocoa train, and another milk car, and a deer dash. That's funny. And then you got a Sleigh Bell Limited. Hopefully they spelled the cars correctly. Yuletide, Yuel. Yeah, that was interesting. Looks like you got some Christmas locomotives. The red is bold on this Peppermint Railroad. Looks like you got a 262, a 242, and then an ET44. A couple more of those streamlined cars. Interesting enough. Got some various stuff here. I'm not going to spend much time in detail here. Looks like you got some American Flyer as well, but looks like you got a few accessories, some Amtrak, and got an IR sensor, light poles, and then there's a whole bunch of things about what's still available. I'm not going to go through all of it, but they've got a lot of things still available, which to me says they probably need to be working on prices, and especially with these starter sets. And there's just a few things that I think they could handle with their freight car prices, especially. I mean, quite a bit available, like I said. It just tells me that the prices are maybe just a little too high on some of these starter items. But yeah, base 3, a little bit of power and control stuff, some some LCS stuff. I haven't really gotten into that because I don't really run fast track, but they are interesting enough, I guess. Some more fast track. Again, if you're into that, there's some cool stuff. It doesn't look like there's a whole lot new, but yeah. Then there's some more O-Gauge fast track available. I know some track has hit some supply chain issues, but fast track is usually pretty available. Looks like you got some American Flyer available. Again, there wasn't much in this catalog. I don't know if they're going to come out with just an American Flyer catalog or not, but that remains to be seen. I like this Texas Special LCCA. I think that's an LCCA version, or maybe it's the TCA. I can't quite remember off the top of my head, but they are pretty cool. That is a pretty cool locomotive, even though it's a fantasy scheme. Looks like just some various things on the back. There's the LCCA, and that's it. Thank you for sticking with me through this catalog review. I've This is the first time I've done a full size review of one of these, so if you have any comments or feedback, just let me know. I only ordered a few things from this catalog because the previous one I ordered a few locomotives and I just need to be conscientious of my budget, so I just got the Polar Express stuff and the Rock Island coaches. There were plenty of cool things, but I decided to scale back a little bit for this catalog. Thanks again for watching. I hope to see you soon in another video.